Hi, seventh graders. This is Miss Robinson. So this evening I wanted to, well, this afternoon, depends on when you're watching this, I suppose. I wanted to share with you the seventh grade collection for risk and exploration terms. So as you can see, our next unit is centered around the ideas of risk and exploration, which is pretty exciting. And I think it's important for you to know the terminology before we start reading the unit, so that when I bring up these terms, you're not like, what is she talking about? So what I'd like you to do right now is to get out a sheet of paper and a writing utensil. So I'll give you a second to do that. Is it done? You can pause the video. All right, good. So as you can see, we only have 11 terms, which is pretty great. Now, when we read through these works and these pieces in this unit, you'll see that there are more than 11 terms, but the vast majority of them you already know. So I thought that I would stick with the ones that I didn't think you were very comfortable with so that we could really focus our energy on learning new terms. All right, so our first term you've definitely heard before, audience, and it's the group of people who listen to a speech. And then the other most common definition is the people who watch a performance. But one thing that I wanted to emphasize to you is that an audience is also the group of people who read a piece of writing. So as people who have written things, you, my friends, have an audience. Next is reasons, and reasons specifically refers to argument essays, but you could use them elsewhere. And reasons are the beliefs that support a person's overall argument. So you may have 3 reasons, 3 body paragraphs that support your overall argument in an argument essay. Next is a heading. Now, we've had this term before, but a lot of people forget it. So I stuck it in here because I knew that some of you wouldn't remember that a heading is the title of an informational article. Next is paraphrase. Paraphrasing is different from quoting. It's different from quoting in that instead of pulling exact words from a text, you put facts or ideas from a text into your own words. This is a skill that we're going to be practicing fourth quarter a lot. We're going to do some research writing, and I'm going to ask you to both paraphrase and quote, because those are 2 really important research skills. Next are signal words. These are, as you can see, words in a text that indicate a shift in ideas, and many of them are transition words. So I have this graphic over here that shows some signal words like such as, for example, for instance, most important, in front, beside, near, etc. And they signal to the reader that a list of characteristics will follow. Now, not all signal words do that, just as not all transition words do that, but these specific signal words signal that a list of characteristics will follow. Next is sparse, and this is something that you need to know for both my class and for Miss Sanders' class, and it means thinly dispersed or scattered. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. If you use the term sparse correctly in my class and you remind me, I will give you an extra point on that day's assignment. So you have to remember, but if you use sparse correctly in class, I will give you an extra point on that day's assignment. You can only get 1 point per day, so don't be all crazy and say, oh, I used it 12 times. But you can get a point more than one day if you use sparse correctly in a sentence in my class. All right, next is implied. Someone may use an implication. They may imply something when talking to you. So it means suggested but not directly expressed. If your mom says something to you like, honey, I really don't think that it would be a wise choice to have another piece of cake. She's not directly saying don't have another piece of cake. She's implying it, and she's not directly expressing it, but you understand her meaning. Extended metaphor is also one of my favorite literary terms, and it means when an author uses the same metaphor several times throughout the same poem or story. For example, if a woman is called a rose in a first stanza, if they say she's a red rose, the author may extend the metaphor by, in another stanza or another line, saying something along the lines of her petals are red. And then maybe even further in another stanza or line, the author may say something like her thorns sting like the bite of a bee. So they've compared her to a rose. They've said she is a rose. They've said she has petals. They've said she has thorns. So it's an extended metaphor comparing the woman to a rose. Next is imagery, which means visually descriptive language. And as you can see over here, this woman is able to picture things because she read something that included visually descriptive language, also known as imagery. Next is a theme, and we've identified themes together before, but I really thought that it was important to remind you. It's a message that the author wishes to convey through his or her writing, and these frequently take the form of life lessons like you must go slow before you can go fast. You must walk before you can run. Learn to appreciate the fact that you are unique. These are all life lessons that are themes as well in a lot of literary works. Finally, we have sensory details, and I love sensory details because they make me feel as a reader like I'm really immersed in the story. Sensory details include references to the five senses, so sights, smells, sounds, tastes, and physical touch. So a type of sensory detail would be imagery, which describes a sight, but there are others like smells, sounds, tastes, and physical touch. And I really enjoy when an author has great sensory details because, again, it really brings me into the story and helps me feel like I'm part of it. All right, those are our terms, and I hope that you wrote them down. If you need to rewind or you need to write them down by pausing, you can do that. I hope you have a great evening, and I will see you next class. Goodbye.